This episode of Telling Our Stories is sponsored by Say It in a Card, an online greeting card company. Visit us today, www.sayitinaCard.com. If you feel it, we say it in a card. Free shipping while supplies last. SayItInACard.com is an online greeting card company. And now, Say It in a Card is available in the App Store, available on Android and iOS. If you haven't already discovered Say It in a Card electronic greeting card app, let me be the first to introduce you. These aren't just any old greeting cards. They're situational. Does someone owe you money? There's a card for that. Going through a breakup? There's a card for that too. Did someone close to you lose a pet? There's a sympathy card waiting just for you. Hold on, not so fast. Coming out of the closet, we have a coming out card as well. If you feel it, we say it in a card. Download the app now. Previously on Telling Our Stories. What Don Lemon said on Red Table Talk was, once he got to a certain point in his career, there just weren't many of us there. And then those of us who were there were closeted. And he was not willing to go back into the closet.
You have to be nice to your people, so that way they can check in on you periodically.
Yeah. Take Mr. Marvin a plate.
Yeah, it's going down the street while you at it. Take him a plate and empty his trash while you're down there. That's how you got to be nice to the neighbor.
Right. Welcome to Season 3 of Telling Our Stories. I'm calling it Black, Gay, and Aging. This season was inspired by various conversations I had with a few friends. And from those conversations, the idea was born. I'm constantly inspired to create work that will heal our community, both Black and queer. So I invited 8 friends to my house to discuss being Black, gay, and aging. This conversation changed me. I felt it in the moment as it was happening. Telling Our Stories, Season 3, Black, Gay, and Aging. So are you afraid of growing old? Because for me, I'm always talking about my age because I know that it's a thing in the community. And so
go ahead.
I'm always talking about my age because I know it's a thing in the community. And I've actually gotten responses from people saying, I really appreciate you saying this because I had this idea of what I thought 48 was supposed to look like. You know, and I thought it was, I thought it meant old and this, that, and the third. So for me, it's never been about getting older. But then we were saying, I think before the camera started, we were saying that, I think that you said it, I think the cameras were running. Because most of us don't look our age, we may not be as stressed about getting older.
Honey, you can look like this? Oh, shit.
Right, but you're
But you're still 48.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't start feeling 47 until, I didn't start feeling my age till I was 47.
Right.
And I was like, okay, wait a minute, I do notice something different now.
I'm not healing fast like I used to.
Yeah.
Right. I
Right.
wake up in the morning sometime, I'm like, now why is that hurting?
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't injure
I don't
myself.
even have that. Why is that hurting?
I didn't even injure myself yesterday. Why is my thumb hurting?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but so for me, it's not a fear of getting older. For me, it's a fear of how I'm gonna die.
Right.
I don't want a long-term death, a long-term sickness.
No.
You know what I mean? It's how
Right.
and at what age.
Well, and you think about that as you take care of your parents now.
Yes, come
So,
on.
Me and my siblings, I look at my mother and I'm like, okay, she's aging. She's not moving as fast as she used to. She has me, my brothers, he's living there. Like, I'm like, damn, who's gonna do this shit for me?
That was one of the things that inspired this conversation because he said that to me.
Because
My mama has
I'm not
Alzheimer's.
far away from that. And yeah, I have nieces and nephews. And it goes back to what shit, I haven't lived in Chicago in over 20 years.
So does that mean you got to go
So
back to
does that
Chicago?
mean I have to go back home? Or how do I now invest in that relationship? I mean, thank goodness I have family members who are younger.
Yeah.
Godson, who I think will be okay. But do I trust them? You know? It's like, this is the shit that popped up for me last week when I'm like, okay, you're 49.
I have a
What
friend,
does that mean?
he was telling me he's going to get his colonoscopy next week. And first thought in my head was like, if I go, who's going to sit there and wait for me? Like,
No one's gonna sit there. Craig picked me up. Like
that's what I mean. Like, who's going to pick me up when I'm all like,
Hey, y'all friends.
I'll pick you up.
But you have friends
They
to
ain't gonna stay with you after they pick you up. They gonna pick you up.
oh yeah,
they'll
take me
pick
home.
you up.
Let me stay in the house by myself. Who
My
knows
mom
what else
has
might happen?
Alzheimer's.
You know, I don't know.
And the worst feeling in the world is to go home and your mom don't know who you.
You said your mom has Alzheimer's.
She don't know who I am. She just smiled. She said, "Where's that boy? Where's that boy that always laughing and smiling?" That's all she knows me.
Yeah. That's scary.
Oh my God, it's heartbreak. It's a slow death. It's a slow goodbye.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's a slow, long goodbye.
Yeah,
She has no clue to nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 82 years of life has been taken by 1 year of sickness.
And see, the interesting thing about that is, and I'm glad you brought that up because I completely forgot that point where you said, I'm now taking care of my mom or doing stuff for her. And it's like, well, who's going to do it for me? So for me, I haven't thought that, but I've been thinking like, okay, now my mom is 80. I've seen her slow down. Even though she's still moving around, but I've seen her slow down. And it haunts me to think about when I get that call that she is gone. Because I have friends who have lost their mom, and they all talk about how
just gone.
That's the thing about it. And so I think about that because they're like, you never escape it, you never forget it, you never heal from it. You learn to adjust to it, but it completely changes your molecular structure. Right. And so I think about that, and so that is the reminder that, you too are getting older. She's 80, but you halfway there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think about that.
Because you're not as young as you really think you.
I know. I just look really young. Calvin.
How old do you think you look?
It's not how old I think it's not how old I think I look. It's how old the people think I am.
How old do people think you look?
Well, when I was in London, so when I was in London, they thought I was 32.
Wait, you were younger than me?
They 32. They gagged when I said, "Oh no, I'm 47." They're
Without the
like,
gray?
"What?" Well, I had put a little color down here, so they didn't see the gray. They didn't see the gray. They didn't see the gray.
Like today?
Today.
32.
Yeah. He act like he ain't got none of his. He act like he ain't got none of his.
Go back to that question that we started around here. That started with me. You didn't pick it up over here.
What was the question? What?
Around when I said, introspection, and then I get caught up in these narratives. What was the question that you had asked around? What have we learned?
Yes. How have you been a problem in the relationship? Yeah. Thank you. And then also, that's it. No. Let's get, How have you been someone's disappointment?
It stopped at Chuck.
No. I did the expectation stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't always
Thanks,
address
Soren.
it immediately. I don't always communicate addressing me. I load the gun, then I shoot it.
Ooh.
When I'm done, I'll take notes, not just in my mind. I got notes in my phones on niggas right now. I'll be like, okay, bet. So then when I get ready to be out, I got enough reasons right here.
But have there been instances where you have fucked up a good thing?
Yeah, I don't always show up. I'll be just consistently busy.
Is there someone in particular that you think of like, damn, I probably could have done something different with that? Tito, Marvin? Look, nobody wants to talk about how they can sit here and rattle off all the ways that people let them down.
I'm okay with it today. Yeah.
You're okay with what?
Talking about what we're going to say.
So, I mean, there have been a couple. I think the first one is sticks out to me. I think I didn't have the maturity level. I didn't know what. I'll say this: I had a relationship with my dad, but it wasn't until my early 20s. In the sense of really talking and stuff like that. And then after we was starting to build a relationship, he died. So I didn't know how to communicate with men.
Yeah.
So I know how to communicate with women because my mom, my sisters.
Me too.
Great, but when it came to men, it was I don't know, So I didn't know how to be a friend in the relationship, and so that aspect is what.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the other one was. One was just fear. It was this one person that really, twice wanted to be when I was I'm scared.
You were scared?
Yeah.
Wow, that's honest.
Communication was one of the biggest things for me, and then my nonchalant attitude.
Yeah.
I
don't think he asked for help.
growing up north, and you don't give, and I'm not the warm and fuzzy guy when it comes to dudes. Dudes need to handle their business, and I've always been that way because my dad was tough on me like that. So that's one of the things about me. So I've learned to soften up over the years, and me and Craig can go on the conversations for hours about, soft talk and all that old stuff, feelings and things. And so I brought it back into the relationship. When I'm in relationships now, I'll check it when I see that I can be like, oh, forget it. Boy, go. It's easy stuff. Go out there.
Very easy.
Some gas.
Right. I'm gonna tell you
gas.
for
Why
years.
you out here fussing about gas? Get some gas.
Right.
Not that simple, but I'm just saying, I can be nonchalant, like, dude, come on, it's simple math. Let's get it done.
Nonchalant, I'll add abrasive. I'll add abrasive. A little abrasive. But you know, for me, it was emotional maturity. Whoever said that, like, and a couple of you know him. But so this goes back many years. But yeah, I lacked the emotional maturity. I did. You know what I mean? Like the things that I was upset about really are things that I could have worked through if it was happening now. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have the emotional maturity at the time. But then it was also a little bit of that. He was established in his career, and I was still trying to figure out what the fuck. And I didn't want him to think, this nigga is tired. He trying to tell me he a writer. What is he writing? You know what I'm saying? He ain't wrote shit yet.
What is he writing over there?
Right, what is he writing?
God be like, what are you doing? You
Right,
get up, get a
right,
job, dude.
right. This
In the
nigga-
meantime, what are you doing?
Correct. So like, you need to go somewhere. But I needed somebody. I don't know what I needed, but you know, I was afraid that he would think that, he's just a loser. This nigga just don't want to work.
He writing something because me and Marvin had to sell about the truck. He wrote something.
He wrote something. What? You and Marvin helped me sell out of the trunk of the car.
The bitch wrote something.
Coming up next on Telling Our Stories. The silence there is so loud that it's deafening, and you pretend to ignore it. You think about it most nights, so you start to drink a little bit more than you used to cope. You've even reduced yourself to hiring escorts or inviting perfect strangers into this beautiful home for the sake of having sex. When the truth is, you really just need a hug.
We're excited to announce the launch of an incredible new app we've created for our friend and client, Craig TheWriter. If you haven't heard of Craig, he's the brilliant host of the Fag Talk on YouTube. Definitely go check that out. So we're introducing his new app called Say It in a Card. This isn't just any card app. Say It in a Card offers a unique, heartfelt way to connect with your loved ones. You can send a personalized card, each featuring a special message penned by Craig himself. But wait, it gets better. Do you want to add your own personal touch? You can customize your message to make it truly one of a kind. So download the app now and make sure you support Craig and his team, and I'll see you at the next one.
Read for Your Life, virtual tutoring. Join us January 6, 2025 for a 12-week educational experience to increase your child's reading skills and inspire confidence. Perfect for ages 5 through 7. For more information, text Read for Your Life at 804-615-5997. That's 804-615-5997. You asked me if I wanted to be married. Like, I mean, love is always on the table for me. But I think I see relationships differently now. And I understand. Well, because I understand that sometimes people change their mind about the relationship while still in the relationship, and they don't tell you. I think sometimes people are involved in things, or they have propensities or proclivities that they don't share with you. And then you find out later, and it's just like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this.
Well, sometimes you don't even find out.
That too. I want to read this and then I want to respond. Yeah. So the germ of this came from, like he said, when he was doing something for his mom, he said, well, who's going to do this for me? That was one of the conversations. And then, like I said, I've had other conversations with some of you too, and it just kind of started planting the seed. So I wrote this a few weeks ago, and so it says, I decided today that next week I'm going to film the 3rd season of my YouTube web series, Telling Our Stories. The season is called Black, Gay, and Aging. I reached out to my personal friends to be a part. Just as I expected, some declined because they are having their own issues around aging. One said, I just don't know if I want to reveal that to society and your huge ass following. It's something I've been struggling with for a long time. It's so real when you get older. Your health starts to fail. I'm still alone. And shit just seems hopeless. I'm sorry, Craig. You know I love you and have supported you since day one. I just can't be that publicly vulnerable. It broke my heart because so many suffer in silence, alone. But in public, the life of the party. He went on to say, I just looked up and I'm here. I don't know what I envisioned, but it wasn't this. But what choice do I have? Like you said, we're all aging. I know I need some therapy behind this. I'm trying to figure it out myself and I'm failing miserably. I've felt this pain before, just not about aging. My pain has always been connected to some disappointment I've experienced in relationships. I don't like breakups. I don't know if I ever want to try again because I don't want to feel another heartbreak. Pain. The kind my friend feels about aging. I still believe in love, I just question relationships. At one point in my life, I think I looked at relationships through rose-colored glasses. I don't think most have the stamina for long-term or lifetime partnership. So many say partnership is what they want, but do they really? Is it just something to say so that no one thinks you're the problem in all of your relationships? Because if most of us are saying that we want the same or very similar things, then why haven't we found each other? Why are there so few examples of long-term relationships? Why are most of us single? How is it possible that we keep missing each other in passing? We're going to the same places, season after season. We know many of the same people, even in a variety of different cities. It's about 1 degree of separation in the community, not 6. We claim that we want to be in something serious, but are our standards too high? Or do we have an unrealistic type of guy that we're looking for? Do we make too many excuses or set so many unreachable standards that no one can reach the bar? Not even you, if someone set those same standards for you to meet. Could any of those sex buddies, pieces, or situationships that we had along the way have matured into something special? No? Not one? Are some of us afraid to age out of fear of growing old and alone? Or are we afraid of not looking as youthful anymore? Could that be the real reason some are afraid of aging? Because chances are we played at times we should have gotten serious about someone. One of those pieces that we kept in situationship status should have graduated to the something special category. Instead, we made excuses to keep playing, to keep running. We just couldn't choose one, at least not yet. After all, we're still young and got body. Figured you'd play a little longer and settle down soon, but soon never comes. Now you're mid-50s. You just couldn't decide with so many options. You knew quantity didn't mean quality. Nevertheless, you just weren't ready at the time, always thinking there was something better at the next corner. There were more rocks that you hadn't uncovered, so you jumped back on Jack'd, Grindr, Tinder, Facebook dating, Hinge for a minute, even after you vowed you were done with them the last time you were on it. But you're going out of town soon. So you'll just log in while you're out of town and take it off your phone before you fly back to your home. But somehow you forget to delete it from your phone and you end up on the app for another 6 months. You were convinced there were more stones left unturned, then bam, you're knocking at 60. Still on the prowl, still in search of satisfaction, bouncing around to the same clubs and bars you've been in and out of for the last umpteen years, hoping to see some new faces. But no, it's the same old folk who were there the last time you made your rounds and are there again tonight, just like you. But now it's your turn to have the guy that used to date another guy that you used to see at the club a while back. In true merry-go-round fashion, you hop on the carousel until your time is up and it's someone else's turn to get on that same ride. You keep your eyes open for your time to be up. Don't worry, it's not going to be long at all. 10 years later, you're still opening and closing new and old dating apps because you're serious this time. But this time, you're 60 plus and you only like boys who don't want you. They're not attracted to you. You're only attracted to them. They may entertain you for a few dollars. And occasionally, you feel generous. And you tell yourself, what the hell? You only live once. So you become comfortable paying for company, sex, to feel better about yourself, knowing full well if this young nigga was really interested in you, it wouldn't last long because he can only go so far because he doesn't have the mental or financial bandwidth to keep up with you. But you knew that when y'all started kicking it. And truthfully, you were okay with it because you want to be in charge anyway. You want someone you can control. You don't want someone on your actual level. Otherwise, you date someone in the near vicinity of your age. Yet you dive in anyway, only to complain that he doesn't make enough money to do the things that you can. Or you judge him for his credit score when in actuality, you just cleaned your credit score up your damn self. Again, more excuses, more reasons to run. Not tired yet? Secretly, you aren't really trying to settle down because now you're set in your fucking ways and no one can tell you shit except your friend from 20 years ago. You spend a grip on a designer dog with a designer name, expensive clothes, weekly haircuts and other grooming to feel better about yourself, but you're lonely and you just don't want to admit it to anyone, including yourself. So you hide behind labels and other material things. Your little designer dog keeps you company in that big ass house that you bought to live in alone. But that house was a status symbol for your ego. The silence there is so loud that it's deafening and you pretend to ignore it. But you can't. The silence is too loud. You think about it most nights, so you start to drink a little bit more than you used to cope. To quiet the noise just a bit, enough to fall asleep. You've even reduced yourself to hiring escorts or inviting perfect strangers into this beautiful home for the sake of having sex, when the truth is, you really just need a hug. I want to tell the stories that many of us are living but are afraid to admit out loud. Do we wait too long to get serious about love and real partnership, real building? Do we wait too late in life? Because it seems like everything else comes first. Degrees, businesses, careers, friends, more money, and casual sex with random strangers. Or are those just more excuses to not do the work and fight for it? Is it pride and ego? Our inability to admit fault? To say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I apologize? Or are we consistently and constantly looking for a straight man in a gay man, knowing that will never happen? I've said before, love doesn't wait for us to organize our life to show up. I guess the message here is, don't get to the end of your life and realize you could have done some things differently. Don't wait too late. And that was it.
That's good.
So I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
I'm going to slip my wrist.
I feel like it's a part of a larger work to come. I don't know what it is, but I just felt like it kind of worked its way into this conversation. Any reactions? I'm open to them. Like whatever you think, whatever you were feeling.
It's a very deep piece. It causes you to be reflective.
Very.
And see where you've been in those moments. I have a call to action somewhere else in there. Like, it leaves me wanting more to say, okay, now what?
Right.
Give me something to shoot.
Right.
Like, what's the call to action?
Yeah.
Bitch, if that was me, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So what I took from it, we'll start there. It was mentioned, or kind of indirectly in the piece, where we have to start living, and what I'm starting to do is living in the moment more, because the constant chasing of something better, and I feel like sometimes we do that with relationships as well, and that's where we're maybe feeling like maybe this person isn't good enough, so I got to find the next best thing, which is a kind of a struggle in the dating pool today too. So I think if we just realize that if somebody meets most of what we're looking for and enjoying the moment, then we can actually be satisfied and happy with the person and probably not end up lonely like the individual in the piece.
I think we can find happiness if we don't look for gay men, straight men and gay men. Mm-hmm. That was very, So,
because I think a lot of us are attracted to the masculinity.
To that masculinity
right?
thing, and that make you happy. Mm-hmm. That's an image that you show to the world, but that not make you really happy, because straight men can be horrible partners, But you see these two film guys together a lot, and they're happy.
I say it all the time. We just had that conversation. I say a lot of times I'll see two white gay guys, uber feminine, And the first thing that we will say or think, who doing who? Who's doing the bending? You know what I'm saying? But they're happy. And that's not across the board. I'm not saying everybody thinks that. Yeah, they got a couple properties. They got a life insurance policy. Yeah, they got a bank account. They got vacation homes. Right. We got an apartment lease. Okay, what you want to say, Elgin? Because I feel it. But and again, and I think, and let me just say this, and I'm not saying that everybody's goal is to have a relationship at all. But go ahead.
The thing I kept hearing was the journey. It touched on just so much of the journey of being Black, gay, and Asian, as well as the importance of doing the work. So
Yeah.
if I'm alone, or my friends become my family, or I end up with a long-term partner, or a lifetime of lovers, I have to continue to evolve and do my work in each of those spaces.
Yeah.
So for me, it just kept saying, so in any of those spaces, whether I'm on Jack or whether I'm somewhere staying in a situation long, I should be, whatever, I still got to do my work to continue to evolve to be a better person. So my message to myself was to just keep doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can piggyback off him because one of the things that kept popping up for me is like when you do have those times when you're single, work on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just, I think therapy is like seek therapy, and also like prioritize and plan, right? Because you're gonna have those interruptions in life. You know what I'm saying? So how do I, not saying you be specific with those interruptions, but what happens if I get in a car accident and I gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, so how, like we was talking about earlier, like, do you have a living will? Like, do your family know all about your medical history? Like, your friends and stuff like, so it's like all that stuff that comes into it, I think.
I think we convince ourselves that we're okay with being alone.
Right.
We spend a lot of time convincing ourselves that, you know, I'm okay. You know, this shit ain't right. This shit ain't
Right. Because I think as human beings, we're just interdependent. I said that earlier when we were talking about the whole COVID thing. And I think that we've just gotten to a point where we're so afraid. This is mankind. I think we're just, we're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to be emotionally naked. You know, because again, we've all heard stories of somebody who just really laid it all on the line and then they just got done in, you know, in a major way. So
for me, it's a different level as a person who, and I've talked about this, so it's not an issue for me to discuss it. As a person who has attempted suicide, it also is a level of, I'm afraid of allowing someone in that is going to disrupt my peace and take me back to a dark place. And I can't afford that.
Yeah. Oh, that was strong.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts? Or?
But this is the thing, though. I've never attempted suicide, but I've often laid in bed and said, God, if I don't wake up in the morning, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's real.
Yeah.
It's so real.
Wow.
No, I appreciate that. I can align with Scott because I have my own struggles with depression and suicide. So I constantly have to check the suicide ideation, which is why I maintain therapy because that is a part of my self-care. So that's necessary. And I think when you're aging, to Scott's point, you really have to make sure the relationships that you have and engage in are not ones that will take you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's some real shit. Okay.
Yeah. But I appreciate each of you for coming and doing this and having this conversation. I really hope and think that this will serve many people well. But I appreciate this. I really do. I love you for doing this. I think that we really have to be better about building community and really being our brother's keeper, if you will. So I always check, and you're new in my space, so I'm always trying to reach out to you. Ryan and I actually had a conversation. I said, I'm gonna have to take him under my wing, you know, because he is younger than I am. And so I just kind of feel like, I think we have to do more of that, like kind of like bringing people, to teach people like from our own missteps or just our journey, period. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. Because I just think that we have to start passing a different torch to that generation that's coming behind us so that we can see different results and see a different outcome. So thank you again for being here, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My check. Run me my check. I need oil for now.
In white communities, it is normal, pretty much expected that you do traditional marriage thing, but that's not something that's expected in the black community.
Come on, British accent.
Y'all so
Ain't they quiet? Trying to act all saintly.
Oh, what?
Saintly.
You made that first today?
I sure did. In fact, I went fishing yesterday. I went up to the Chattahoochee.
What kind of fish did you catch?
I caught whiting.
Those looking very Trader Joe-ish.
No, what is Trader Joe's? What's Trader Joe's? I was involved briefly with a married man who believed he had the courage to leave his wife to be with me and to live his truth. This isn't the typical story of a married man promising to leave his wife for a secret lover. Rather, this is a story in part about a gay man who knew he was gay before he got married, but chose to marry a woman because he didn't know how to break free. Rocky and I met on a gay social media site 3 months after I returned to the East Coast to live, and just 11 months after he was married. At the time we met, he was living and working in Dubai as a contractor for the government on a military base, while his wife was stationed in Tallahassee, Florida, where they had a home. In one of the first messages he sent me, Rocky shared that he was married, but that he had regrets. He explained that he had come out to his mother and siblings when he was 18 years old. He sat them. To listen to more of One Thing for Certain, Two Things for Sure, a memoir continued, visit audible.com.